Recently, I caught one of Rick Beato's in-person talks at the Musicians Institute in Hollywood. Rick spoke about AI, content creation, music production, and songwriting. And today I want to share with you some of my biggest takeaways from his talk. So if you're a songwriter, content creator, music producer, musician, and you're feeling a little lost in 26, I'm hoping this video will give you some insight and some help. Oh, and by the way, Rick didn't just give a talk, he spent an hour answering questions from the audience. He's such a great and generous guy. Okay, now on to the takeaways. First, AI. Rick said not to worry about AI replacing human artists. He gave an example with an AI generated artist with all their AI generated music, and that they have millions of monthly listeners. Rick's comment on that was bots. It's mostly all bots. Because when Rick looked up this artist on their social media, he saw that they had like a couple thousand followers on Instagram, which doesn't jive because when you look at real human artists that have millions of monthly listeners, that their Instagram or TikTok usually has, say, 1.5 million followers. So in short, most of these streams you see from AI songs aren't coming from real human listeners. Rick also mentioned a news story from November where an AI-generated country artist hit #1 on the country sales chart. Rick looked into this and he said that it's strictly for digital download sales. It has nothing to do with streaming. And they looked further and it was about 3,000 digital download sales to get that #1 position. So that in essence, what happened is that someone spent $3,000 to game the chart and get a little bit of publicity. Rick said that charts like this are useless. He doesn't even know why they're still used. It's not organic success. It's just noise. AI isn't dominating real human creation nor real fan connection. Now, personally, I hadn't thought of someone gaming the charts like that, but then I realized, wait a minute, we're talking about the music business. Jeez. Okay, on to content creation. Other than getting sponsored as an influencer, Rick said the real money is on YouTube, not Instagram or TikTok. Rick said he has tens of millions of views per week on Instagram, and the most Instagram has ever paid him is $1.32. He mentioned that it's long-form content on YouTube that is the real moneymaker, especially if you can keep people watching long enough on your content. Because what happens is at the start of the video, viewers get advertising, and this is where you start to make money. But if you can make content that keeps them glued to your video, after about 8 to 9 minutes, there's another set of ad breaks. And guess what? As the content creator, you get paid on those ads as well. So this means even more ad revenue for you. And that it's not just about views, but it's also watch time. How long you can keep people watching and interested in your video. And Rick kept mentioning this phrase, which was hack the audience, not the algorithm. This is how you make real money on YouTube. Now, Rick also talked about how he runs his channel. He suggested making videos on things you are genuinely interested in. Be authentic. Now, I got to ask Rick a question, and I asked him what to do when you put out a video and it does really well, but then the next one flops, because that's what happened to me. One of my videos did great for me. The next video after that completely bombed. Rick's suggestion to me was to replace the thumbnail and the title and try it again. He says 9 times out of 10 this works. So when if he puts out a video and it does really poorly, he goes ahead and replaces the thumbnail and the title, and usually that tends to bring it up and views start coming in. Again, hack the audience, not the algorithm. Make stuff people want to actually watch. And as you can tell in Rick's advice to me, the thumbnail and title are also important because it's the thumbnail and title that are going to get strangers to actually watch your content. And then hopefully your content is so good that they will want to stay and keep watching. Rick also talked about being driven and hardworking, and that was also a contributor to his success on YouTube. Rick actually had one of his assistants there, a younger guy, like late 30s, maybe early 40s, and he said that Rick is always going at it. He's always got ideas, that he goes at it 7 days a week, that it's not unusual for them to have a little meeting on Sunday about what they're going to do on Monday. Both Rick and his assistant also said not to take any nasty comments personally, or don't take the low views personally. That's just part of the game. Just keep being authentic and keep putting out your content. Okay, music production. There was a young guy in the audience who asked Rick just simply, hey, I want to get started in music production. How do I get in and get started as a music producer? And Rick's answer was very straightforward. He said, produce an album that sounds good. And there was a little pause. And Rick said, if you produce an album that sounds good, then hopefully someone will ask that band or artist, like, hey, that sounds great, who produced that? And then they will mention your name, and then you can get work from that. And if that sounds good, your name can be passed around, and that's how you can get work. Rick said this is how he got started. He quickly related a story that back home many years ago, that's what happened. He went to a band's rehearsal, and he told them, hey, why don't you try, changing that verse and that chorus around? And he gave them some suggestions, and they said, well, hey, do you want to produce our album? And Rick said, yeah, sure. And so he produced the album for them. It sounded great. People started asking that band, like, hey, who did this? And that band kept coming back to Rick to produce their next albums after that. And so it just snowballed, and he kept getting work as a music producer. Oh, and one more thing about AI. Rick said that he knows professional songwriters who have been using AI as a tool in their songwriting, but you still need someone with a developed ear to have a sense for what is good and what is garbage. He said you need someone like Max Martin who has that ear, that good sense to understand what is hit-making material and what is just AI slop. Now, this was an excellent point that I hadn't thought about, that you still need a human being with a taste to filter out what is necessary and good and what is just complete slop. Songwriters aren't being replaced because you still need human beings to make these creative decisions. Now, I have to tell you, Rick is exactly as you see him in his videos. He's very generous, he's very nice. You can tell he genuinely wants other people to succeed. So what about you? Which of these little lessons from Rick Beato, which of them hit home hardest for you? Drop a comment, let me know. Let's have a conversation about these things. If you found this video helpful, tap that like button. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.